What's the truth about you and Janet Jackson's supposed secret daughter? Is there any truth to this rumor?
Well, Brooks, I'm gonna put it to you like this. Since you're my boy, right? I'm gonna put it to you like this. You know, since you like family to me, right? I'm doing a movie right now, right? You know that, of course, you're gonna be up and you'll be in on it. And I'm going to disclose a lot of things so that I can end it all once and for all. So I don't want to let the cat out the bag too early about, because I got my movie thing documentary going on. So I want to, disclose to be disclosed later.
You know, for almost 4 decades now, there's been this rumor that Janet Jackson secretly had a child with Jamet Jackson during their short marriage from 1984 to 1985. It's one of those stories that just refuses to disappear, no matter how many times Janet has denied it. Back then, both of them were young, and the relationship was already under strain from family pressure, constant touring, and James's early struggles with addiction. But alongside the public drama, whispers started spreading that Janet had gotten pregnant during that time, and that the baby was quietly given away or raised by someone else in the family. Over the years, James has talked about it multiple times, saying he truly believes they had a daughter and even claiming she reached out to him as an adult. His family members have backed him up, each sharing their own version of seeing signs of Janet's pregnancy. And now James is hinting again, but this time he's suggesting he knows exactly where that hidden child is today and that the truth could be coming out very soon.
My brother Bobby introduced me to Janet over the phone. We was dating Toya. So of course he could plug his little brother in, you know.
Yeah.
He just introduced me to her on the phone. He told her, Janet, I have a little brother. We were like, he said, she got on the phone and talked to me. And at the time, she was doing good times.
Janet and James' story actually started years before the marriage. They first connected through family. James and Janet began talking over the phone when they were barely teenagers, building a friendship long before they met face to face. Janet was starring on Good Times then, and James says they formed a close bond even from a distance. When they finally met in person about 5 years later, the connection turned romantic almost instantly. The relationship moved fast. Within a short time, they eloped in 1984 when Janet was just 18. At that age, she was already dealing with the pressures of fame and the tight grip of her father, Joe Jackson. According to multiple accounts, part of Janet's decision to marry so young was her desire to escape Joe's control. Joe was known to be strict, even overbearing, and was not happy about the marriage. He allegedly tried to shut it down from the start, but Janet went ahead anyway. The reality of married life hit quickly. James has admitted that his struggles with substances were just beginning to surface, and Janet often found herself in the role of caretaker rather than partner. She's described moments where she would find pills in their home, try to flush them down the toilet, and end up physically fighting James for them. She would be called to pick him up or go looking for him when he was gone too long, and all of this was happening while she was still a teenager, balancing her career and public image. And while their marriage was already rocky, what happened behind closed doors might explain why this secret baby rumor even began.
I didn't want to be on Fame. I didn't want to do the show. The kids were great, but I didn't want to do that.
Around 1984-85, several people close to the couple claimed they noticed changes in Janet's appearance. Family members, including James's sister Bunny, have said they saw her with what looked like a pregnancy bump. Bunny specifically recalled Janet disappearing from the spotlight for a period of time and then reappearing, no longer visibly pregnant, but with no baby in sight. These weren't isolated claims. Other relatives and even people in the industry at the time have repeated similar stories, saying they noticed her avoiding public appearances or wearing clothes that seemed to hide her figure. For those who believed the rumors, the timeline matched up. The alleged pregnancy would have been during the height of her marriage to James, before their divorce in 1985. but the whispers didn't stay in the family. Soon, the entire music industry was buzzing with the same question: where was Janet's baby? Over the years, James himself has been the most persistent voice keeping this story alive. In multiple interviews, he said outright that he believes they had a daughter together. He described feeling as though the child was hidden from him, and in one instance, even claimed that the daughter had reached out to him as an adult. In those moments, James hasn't sounded like someone chasing publicity. He's often emotional, speaking about the situation with a mix of sadness and conviction. Most recently, James has teased that his upcoming documentary will finally settle the matter. He's described it as a way to end it all at once, hinting that the film will include major revelations about the rumored daughter and possibly confirm her existence. But James isn't the only one keeping this rumor alive. His whole family has receipts, or so they claim.
Put it like this: it was just the right love at the wrong time. I was young, she was young, and a lot of things. She'd be on the road, he'd be on the road. We didn't have enough time to be together to work things out. And there being, a lot of interferences from the company she was with, and her father not agreeing with it. It was a lot of people didn't agree with us being together. So we had a struggle. Even being together as much as we wanted to, we couldn't be together enough and have a career at the same time, so it interfered with us, with our relationship.
One of the strongest voices keeping the alleged hidden child story alive has been James's own daughter, Christina DeBarge. She's been open in interviews about believing she has a secret sister out there. Christina has said she would love to meet this sister and that she's heard enough over the years to feel confident the rumors aren't just made up. In her view, if Janet really did have the baby, it's likely the Jackson family, with all their influence and resources, played a role in making sure the situation stayed buried to protect Janet's career at the time. And Christina isn't the only DeBarge family member who stands by the story. James' brother, Darrell, has publicly stated he believes the child exists. Even James' own mother was so convinced that she took part in a DNA test with a woman named Tiffany White, who claimed she was Janet and James' daughter. That test, however, came back showing James was not Tiffany's father. But even with that disappointment, James has made it clear he's not giving up the search. He said, too many people close to him have told the same story over the years, and he feels the truth has just been kept from the public. Of course, all of this clashed with Janet's version of events, and when she finally broke her silence, her words only raised more questions. In her 2022 documentary, Janet addressed the decades-old rumor head-on. She called it painful and untrue, saying she could never hide a child from their father because it wouldn't be right. According to Janet, the speculation began back in 1984 while she was filming the TV show Fame. Around that time, she started taking birth control pills, which she said caused weight gain and bloating. In her account, people mistook those changes for signs of pregnancy, and from there, the rumor took on a life of its own. Janet also talked about how the rumor twisted into different versions. Some said she had given the baby to her older sister Rebby to raise. Others speculated that her brother Jackie's adopted daughter Brandy was actually her child. At one point, people even claimed that Randy's daughter, Stevana, was her secret daughter simply because of their physical resemblance. But even with her clear denials, some followers noticed Janet never used the exact words, "I did not have a baby." Instead, her answers focused on how it wouldn't be right to keep a child from their father. For those who already doubted her, that left room for speculation. So if Janet says it never happened, why do so many people swear they saw proof with their own eyes? Over the years, fans and people who say they were around the industry in the mid-80s have shared memories they believe support the rumor. Some claim they saw Janet visibly pregnant while attending events, like the American Music Awards. One story that often comes up is that while she was on stage with her brothers, Tito Jackson held his jacket in front of her stomach as if to block it from the camera, but her belly was still noticeable. Others recall Janet visiting her grandmother at a convalescent hospital during that period and looking clearly pregnant. These accounts often end the same way. They say she was visibly showing, but months later there was no public announcement, no baby, and no explanation. And now, after decades of mystery, James is dropping the biggest hint yet about where this so-called hidden child might be right now.
Most daddies don't. Don't like their daughters. I don't like my daughters.
Did he ever physically threaten you?
No.
But But he didn't like it.
No, he didn't. He made that clear. That way, talk to me. So I say it out this way. He said it out my way. Say it out this way.
In his most recent interviews, James has taken the rumor to a new level. He's no longer just saying he believes there's a child. Now he's hinting that she's alive, well, and knows exactly who she is. While he's careful not to give away details, the way he speaks about her suggests he's either had some kind of contact or has solid information about her current life. According to James, this daughter may be living completely outside the public eye, possibly under a different name. If that's true, it would explain why no one has ever been able to identify her for certain. He's described her situation in a way that makes it sound like she's intentionally staying private, far away from media attention and the spotlight that comes with being tied to the Jackson family. What's also interesting is the timing. James says the full truth will come out in his upcoming documentary, where he plans to end it all at once. That choice of words has caught people's attention because it suggests he's not just going to hint or tease anymore. He's planning to lay everything out with whatever proof he has. For him, this isn't just about gossip, it's about finally closing a chapter that's been open for nearly 40 years. If James is telling the truth, we might be just months away from meeting the woman who could be Janet Jackson's secret daughter. At the center of this story is the same conflict that's been there from the start: Janet's consistent denials versus the DeBarge family's unwavering insistence. On one side, you have Janet, who has repeatedly called the rumor false, explained the original misunderstanding, and said it's hurtful to keep bringing it up. On the other, you have James and multiple members of his family who all share similar memories and experiences that they believe point to the same conclusion: that a child was born and hidden. That's why this story won't go away. Both sides are firm, both believe they're telling the truth, and neither has convinced the other. Over the years, the rumor has survived DNA tests, public denials, and decades of changing media because there are still enough unanswered questions to keep people curious. Now, with James preparing to release a documentary he claims will finally settle everything, the stakes feel higher than they've ever been. If what he says is true, it's possible that we'll not only get confirmation of the child's existence, but also learn where she's been all this time and why she's stayed hidden. So, what do you think? Is James finally telling the truth? Or is this just another twist in a decades-old rumor? Do you believe Janet really has a secret daughter out there? And if so, where do you think she is now? Could she be living a quiet, everyday life while the world debates her story? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this is one mystery that won't go away. And if you enjoyed going through this story with us, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you don't miss the next update when James' documentary drops.